The transmission. That mysterious box of gears that makes your car actually go. Ignore it, and it will cost you a fortune. Seriously, a new gearbox costs more than a holiday, sometimes even more than a small car. But don't panic. Fixing a transmission doesn't always mean replacing the whole thing. Often, it's something simple. A bit like when your telly stops working, and you just need to plug it back in. This guide will show you how to tackle those little problems before they become big, expensive ones. Think of it as a first aid kit for your car's gearbox, because let's face it, nobody wants to spend their hard-earned cash on a new transmission when a bit of DIY can save the day. And trust me, the sense of achievement when you fix it yourself? Priceless. Right, before you go diving under your car like a ferret in a boiler room, you'll need the right tools. Don't worry, we're not talking about anything ridiculously complicated. This isn't rocket science, it's just a gearbox. First up, a decent set of sockets and wrenches. You'll need these to loosen bolts and access the good stuff. Next, a drain pan. Trust me, transmission fluid gets everywhere if you're not careful, and it smells terrible. You'll also want a funnel for pouring in fresh fluid. A rag or two will come in handy for wiping up spills because, as previously mentioned, this stuff gets everywhere. Finally, a good torch. Because let's be honest, the underside of your car is probably about as well lit as a coal mine. Now, how do you know if your transmission is playing up? Well, cars are actually quite good at telling you if something's wrong. If they could talk, that is. Fortunately, they have other ways of communicating. One sure sign is if your car sounds like a bag of spanners when you change gears. Grinding, whining, clunking, these are not good noises. Another telltale sign is slipping gears. This is when your car suddenly changes gear without you telling it to. Like a learner driver, but less predictable. And of course, there's the dreaded check engine light. This little beacon of doom can mean a whole host of things, but if it's flashing while you're driving, it's bad news. If you notice any of these symptoms, don't ignore them. It's time to investigate. One of the most common causes of transmission trouble is low fluid. Think of it like this. Your gearbox is a bit like a marathon runner. It needs fluids to keep going. Checking the fluid level is easy. Park your car on a level surface with the engine running, then locate the transmission dipstick. It usually has a red handle. Pull it out, wipe it clean, and reinsert it. The fluid should be pink and clear. If it's low, top it up with the correct type of fluid. Check your owner's manual for the right one. It's important not to overfill it. Too much fluid can be just as bad as too little. Section 5. Plugging the leaks. Identifying and repairing transmission fluid leaks. Speaking of fluid, another common problem is leaks. And just like a leaky tap, a leaky transmission is bad news. To find a leak, park your car on a clean, dry surface and look for any suspicious puddles underneath. Transmission fluid is usually red, but it can also be brown or even yellow if it's really old. If you find a leak, try to trace it back to its source. It could be a loose bolt, a cracked pan, or a worn-out seal. Fixing the leak might be as simple as tightening a bolt or replacing a gasket. But if you're not comfortable tackling it yourself, don't hesitate to call in a professional. Section 6. Shifting gears smoothly, dealing with worn-out clutch components. Your car's clutch is what allows you to change gears smoothly. But over time, the clutch disc, pressure plate, and release bearing can wear out, causing all sorts of problems. If you're having trouble shifting gears, or if you hear a grinding noise when you press the clutch pedal, it could be a sign that your clutch is on its way out. Replacing a clutch is a bit more involved than topping up your transmission fluid, but it's still a job that a competent DIYer can tackle. There are plenty of online resources and videos that can guide you through the process. Just make sure you have the right tools and take your time. Section 7. Keeping it slick maintenance tips for a healthy transmission. Prevention is always better than cure, right? And that's definitely true when it comes to your car's transmission. Regular maintenance is key to keeping your gearbox in tip-top condition. This includes checking the fluid level regularly and topping it up as needed. You should also have your transmission fluid and filter changed at the intervals recommended in your owner's manual. And if you notice any leaks, get them fixed straight away. By following these simple tips, you can help to extend the life of your transmission and avoid costly repairs down the line. Section 8. DIY Triumph. The satisfaction of a job well done. There's a certain satisfaction that comes with fixing something yourself. It's a feeling of accomplishment, of having saved yourself a small fortune. and of proving that you're not completely useless with a spanner. Fixing your car's transmission might seem daunting at first, but it's not as difficult as you might think. With a little bit of knowledge, the right tools, and a can-do attitude, you can tackle most common transmission problems head-on. And even if you do have to call in a professional for the more complicated stuff, at least you'll have a better understanding of what's going on under the hood. Section 9. Transmission troubles? Don't panic, get to work. So, there you have it, a crash course in transmission troubleshooting. Hopefully, this has given you the confidence to tackle those minor gearbox gremlins before they turn into major mechanical monsters. Remember, your car is talking to you. Listen to those strange noises, keep an eye on those fluid levels, and don't ignore those warning lights. With a bit of care and attention, you can keep your transmission running smoothly for miles to come, and your wallet will thank you for it. Now go forth and conquer those gearbox gremlins.